probing the death of a mentally ill man who was discovered lying in a pool of blood this morning under a bus shed on Manchester Road in Mandeville. The deceased has been identified as BRENTON COGLE of BELTLINE, a community located southwest of Mandeville. Preliminary reports coming into our news center are that passers-by stumbled upon COGLE's body early in the morning and called the police. The body had what appeared to be a wound to the head. In other news tonight, an Ananda Alert has been activated for 15-year-old KELLENA GAVIN, ward of the state of TREDEGAR Park, Spanish Town, St. Catherine, who has been missing since Wednesday, October 27. She is of dark complexion, medium build, and approximately 5 feet 6 inches tall. Reports from the Spanish Town Police coming into our news center are that KELLENA was last seen at approximately 5 p.m. in her community. She was wearing a red and blue multicolored dress and a pair of black slippers. She has not been heard from since. Anyone knowing the whereabouts of KELLENA GAVIN is being asked to contact the Spanish Town Police at 876-984-2305, Police Emergency 119, or the nearest police station. Still making the news tonight, Captain OMAINE Morgan, who has been linked to the controversial Pathways International Kingdom Restoration Ministries, is no longer a member of the Jamaica Defense Force, JDF. It is reported that the Defense Board has granted approval for Captain Morgan to retire his commission in the JDF. Morgan has been retired effective October 27, 2021. Photographs recently emerged of Morgan in the presence of the late Pathways Ministries leader Kevin Smith. Smith died a few days ago following a motor vehicle accident. The leader of the Pathways Ministries died hours before he was to face criminal charges in connection with sacrificial killings at a branch of the ministry in Montego Bay, St. James. Continuing with the news tonight, detainees at the Santa Cruz police station's lockup have been quarantined following an assessment by the local health department. It is reported that no visits are being allowed pending more information from the health authority. It is also reported that there have been no confirmed cases of COVID-19, but precautions will be taken until there is an update from the Ministry of Health and Wellness. Some of the detainees were tested today for COVID-19 and the decision made to quarantine them. Consequently, court cases involving the detainees have been affected and visits prohibited. In the latest COVID-19 update, the Ministry of Health and Wellness reported 109 new COVID-19 cases and 18 deaths, increasing the infection total from the virus now to 88,775 and the death toll from the virus to 2,217. The new cases comprise 69 females and 40 males, ranging in age from 18 days to 89 years. The cases were recorded in Kingston and St. Andrew with 29 cases. St. Anne recorded 19 cases. St. Catherine, 17 cases. Clarendon and St. James recorded 8 cases each. St. Mary, 6. St. Elizabeth and St. Thomas recorded 5 cases each. Hanover and Manchester recorded 4 cases each. Trelawney, 3 cases, while Westmoreland recorded 1 case. The deaths are recorded as follows: 7 fatalities from St. James, 4 from St. Elizabeth, 2 each from Kingston and St. Andrew, Westmoreland and St. Catherine, as well as a 56-year-old female from Hanover. The deaths occurred between March 11 and October 27, 2021. In the meantime, 189 additional persons recovered in the last 24 hours, increasing the total of recovered persons now to 57,551. There are 28,397 confirmed active COVID-19 cases on the island. Continuing with the news tonight, a total of 150 health facilities across the island are to benefit from an upgrade in information and communication technology. The Ministry of Health and Wellness, in partnership with Cable and Wireless Jamaica Limited, yesterday signed a deal for its Information and Communication Technology Health Systems Strengthening Program, which is valued at $8.43 million. The funds will be used to address hardware issues such as backups, cybersecurity, and storage, as well as infrastructure setups, help desk support, and other services. The technology is expected to significantly reduce the time it takes to process patient data, allowing the health sector to move away from its antiquated paper-based approach. In his remarks, Vice President at C&W Jamaica, Stephen Price, explained that the company aspired to shorten the time required to deliver health care to patients, with key consideration of those living in rural Jamaica. As such, a private network was created to address the issue. The company is slated to deliver, install, and manage this process over the next 3 years in partnership with the government, with the aim of transforming the health sector. Dr. Tufton said this game-changing initiative will undoubtedly heighten customer service, heighten delivery of that service, heal more people in a shorter period of time, and will have greater throughput into the system. Still making Mellow TV news, Minister with responsibility for the environment, Colonel Charles Jr., is calling on wealthier nations to do their part in addressing the climate crisis. Mr. Charles says he anticipates difficult discussions at the upcoming United Nations Climate Conference.
The negotiations will require us as small island developing states to speak with one strong voice, a voice that pulls for us to get increased climate financing, and not just increase in terms of the figure, but increase in terms of the mechanism to access that money so that it can make a difference in the life of the farmer, the fisher folk, the police, the nurse in Jamaica.
The conference begins this Sunday in Glasgow, Scotland. It's taking place within the context of greater commitments being requested to keep global warming to below 1.5 degrees. Mr. Charles says while some countries will find it difficult to transition from fossil fuels, the conversation must be held.
Now, some of the countries that we have to rely on, because they are the ones that are the greater emitters, they have economic considerations which, depending on the political philosophy or depending on what the portion of their revenue is that requires and relies on fossil fuels, they may have greater reliance on fossil fuel and therefore a greater difficulty in transitioning. I understand that. But the reality is that we have to all move towards a time and space where we relinquish this dependency on it, because it is killing the planet.
The Environment Minister says breaching the 1.5 degree target could have catastrophic consequences for small island states such as Jamaica. He also says heavy polluters must honor commitments in terms of climate resilience funding.
There's a commitment that was made at the last COP for $100 billion annually to be delivered to developing countries so that we can build up our capacity. Remember now, we're not the great emitters. So mitigation, which is a country now limiting their contribution, is important, but it is adaptation which is more important to us, because we're not causing the problem. So adaptation is when we build up our capacity to deal with the problem.
As we continue with the news tonight, the Electoral Office of Jamaica, EOJ, says it has taken note of the enthusiastic support from electors who have collected their new voter ID cards. During the first 10 days of the distribution exercise, which began on October 11, over 107,000 new voter ID cards were distributed to registered electors whose current ID cards were renewed. The EOJ says it also noted the high turnout at constituency offices over the last 2 weeks and continues to explore the new approaches to enhance the distribution process. EOJ noted that it has observed the large number of electors who visit the offices on a daily basis to collect their new cards, and that they understand the urgency to collect them before the current ones expire on December 31. Starting Saturday, November 6, EOJ offices will be opened on Saturdays from 8:30 a.m. to 3 p.m. to facilitate the collection and renewal of voter ID cards. And that's our news package for you tonight. Thank you for tuning in to Mellow TV Evening News at 8. I am Shelly Ann Hill. Do stay safe and pleasant viewing.